price, and it would be necessary to procure them. Now, however, they appear to be sufficiently powerful to exhort and excite liberal young men, and to make those whose manners are noble, and who are truly lovers of beautiful conduct, obedient to virtue. But they are incapable of exhorting the multitude to probity. For the multitude are not naturally adapted to be obedient from shame, but from fear ; nor to abstain from bad conduct through the disgrace with which it is attended, but through punishment. For living from passion, they pursue their pleasures, and those things through which they may be procured, but they avoid the pains opposed to these. They have not, however, any conception of that which is beautiful in conduct and truly delectable, in consequence of not having tasted of it. What discourse, therefore, can dispose such men to orderly conduct ? For it is not possible, or at least it is not easy, to obliterate by words things which have been for a long time impressed in the manners. But perhaps we must be satisfied, if every thing being present with us through which we are accustomed to become worthy, we may be able to partake of virtue. Some, however, are of opinion that men become good from nature ; others that they become good from custom ; and others from doctrine. As to goodness from nature, therefore, it is evident that this is not in our power, but that it is inherent in those who are truly fortunate through a certain divine cause. But it must be considered whether it is not true that words and precepts are not accompanied with power towards all men. But it is requisite that the soul of the auditor should have been previously excited by manners to rejoice and hate properly, like land which is intended to nourish seed. For he who lives under the influence of passion will not attend to the reasoning which dissuades him from such a life. How, therefore, is it possible to induce one who is so disposed to alter his mode of conduct ? In short, passion does not appear to yield to reason, but to violence. Hence it is necessary that manners should pre*exist in a certain respect appropriate to virtue, in order that their possessor may love what is beautiful, and be indigent with what is disgraceful in conduct. To obtain, however, a right education for virtue from our youth is difficult, without being nurtured by laws which enforce the offices of virtue. For to live temperately and accustomed to endurance is not pleasing to the multitude, and especially to youth. Hence it is necessary that education, studies, and pursuits should be ordained by laws ; for by custom they will cease to be painful. But perhaps it is not sufficient for youth to obtain a right education, and to have proper attention paid to them ; but it is also necessary, when they have arrived at the perfection of manhood, that they should study and be accustomed to these things. And in these we shall likewise require the assistance of the laws, and in short through the whole of life. For the multitude are more obedient to necessity than to reason, and to punishment than to the beautiful in conduct. Hence some persons are of the opinion that legislators ought indeed to excite men to virtue, and exhort them to it for the sake of the beautiful in conduct, because worthy men will precedenteously from their manners obey their exhortations. But that castigations and punishments should be inflicted on those who disobey them, and who are naturally more unapt. And that the incurable should be entirely exterminated from the community. For, say they, the worthy man, and he who lives with a view to the beautiful in conduct, will be obedient to reason ; but the bad man who aspires after pleasure is to be punished by pain, like a beast of burden. Hence, they add, it is necessary that such pains should be employed, as are especially contrary to the pleasures which they embrace. If, therefore, as we have said, it is requisite that he who is to be a good man should be well educated and accustomed to virtuous conduct, and afterwards should thus live in worthy studies and pursuits, and neither unwillingly nor willingly perform base deeds ; and if these things may happen to those who live conformably to certain intellect and right order, possessing power and strength. If this be the case, the paternal mandate indeed is neither accompanied with strength, nor necessity, nor in short the mandate of one man, unless he is a king, or a person endued with a similar authority. But the law possesses a necessarily compelling power, being a mandate proceeding from a certain prudence and intellect. And those indeed who are adverse to the impulses of depraved men, though they are right in so doing, are hated by the multitude. Law, however, when it ordains what is equitable, is not attended with molestation. But in the city of the Lacedaemonians alone, the legislator appears to have paid attention to education and studies, or pursuits, while in most cities things of this kind are neglected, and every one, after the manner of the Cyclops, lives as he pleases. By these no statutes and no rights are known, no council held, no monarch fills the throne. But high on hills, or airy cliffs they dwell, or deep in caves, whose entrance leads to hell. Each rules his race, his neighbour not his care, heedless of others, to his own severe. It is best, therefore, that a common and right attention should be paid to the citizens, and that there should be an ability of effecting this. But if these things are neglected in common, it would seem to be fit that every one should contribute to the promotion of his children and friends in virtue, or should predetermine to do so. From what has been said, however, it would seem that this may especially be effected by him who possesses the power of a legislator. For attentions to the general welfare are effected through the laws, but equitable attentions are accomplished through worthy men. It does not, however, seem to make any difference whether the laws are written or unwritten, nor whether one person or many are disciplined by them, as neither does it make any difference in music, and gymnastic, and other disciplines. For as in cities legal institutions and manners are efficacious, so in families paternal mandates and manners. And they are still more efficacious on account of alliance, and the benefits conferred by parents on their children. For children previous to these mandates loved their parents, and are naturally disposed to be obedient to them. Farther still, private differs from public education, in the same manner as in medicine particular differ from universal prescriptions. For universally, indeed, abstinence and quiet are advantageous to one who has a fever, but to this particular person perhaps they are not. And he who is a master in the pugilistic art will not perhaps enjoin the same mode of fighting to all his pupils. It would seem, however, that particulars will be more accurately managed when private attention is paid to them. For then each individual will in a greater degree obtain that which is adapted to him. But the physician, the master of gymnastic exercises, and every other artist, will in the best manner pay attention to an individual, if they know universally what is beneficial to all persons, or to persons of a certain description. For sciences are said to be, and are in reality, of that which is common. Nothing, however, perhaps hinders, but that a man may pay attention to one certain thing in a proper manner, though he is destitute of science, while he accurately surveys from experience what happens to each particular thing. Just as some persons appear to be most excellent physicians to themselves, but are unable to give medical assistance to another person. Perhaps, however, it would seem notwithstanding this to be no less requisite for him who wishes to become an artist, and to be theoretic, to proceed to that which is universal, and to know this as far as it can be known. For we have already observed that sciences are conversant with this. Perhaps also it is requisite that he who wishes to make others better by the attention which he pays to them, whether they be many or few, should endeavour to become skilled in legislation, if we can be rendered good men through the laws. Hence it is not the province of any casual person to render some man, or one committed to his care, fitly disposed to become virtuous. But if it belongs to any one to effect this, it is the province of the man of science, just as in medicine, and the other arts, to which a certain attention and prudence pertain. It is requisite, therefore, after this to consider whence, or how a man may acquire a legislative skill. Or in other arts is this to be learned from those who are conversant with the management of public affairs? For this appears to be a part of the political science. Or shall we say that a similar thing does not seem to take place in the political science, and the other sciences and powers? For in the others, the same persons are seen to impart the powers, and to energize from them, as is evident in physicians and painters. But the sophists profess indeed to teach politics, yet no one of them acts in a political capacity. And it would seem that those who are engaged in the management of public affairs do this by a certain power and experience, rather than by the exercise of the reasoning faculty. For they do not appear either to write or speak about things of this kind, though perhaps this would be better than to compose forensic or popular orations. Nor again is it seen that they have made either their own children political characters, or some other children of their friends. It is reasonable, however, to suppose that they would have done this, if they had been able ; for neither could they have left any thing better to cities, Nor could they have deliberately chosen any thing more